Thrawn's Confederation was his forces that took part in the Thrawn campaign against the New Republic in 9 ABY. Thrawn was, of course, the most famous Imperial leader in the Thrawn campaign and led his forces to almost defeating the New Republic in the Battle of Bilbringi. However, Thrawn didn't go at it alone against the New Republic, as he was supported by several Imperial warlords as well as other Imperial factions. After hearing word of the Grand Admiral's return and fearing coups, Grand Moff Ardus Kane and Prince Admiral Dela Krenal agreed to give Thrawn command of a temporary military confederation. To keep this unity, Thrawn never acknowledged his forces as a single political entity and let all the Imperial leaders and warlords rule their territories in their own ways as they saw fit. With that, let's look at how Kane and Krenal, as well as other warlords allied with Thrawn's Confederation, impacted the campaign against the New Republic. Starting with Ardus Kane, the alignment had traditionally remained a neutral entity in the Galactic Civil War, as Kane's warlord kingdom didn't really go out of its way to fight the New Republic or any of the other Imperial warlords. However, during the Thrawn campaign, the alignment contributed some of its forces to Thrawn's efforts, but did not formally join him, preferring to continue its militarization and isolationism in an anticipation of conflict with the New Republic, which would come after the Thrawn campaign in Kane's eyes. Prince Admiral Dela Krenal had feared being overthrown by his own forces within his warlord kingdom, as well as being toppled by the returning Grand Admiral. With that, Krenal offered monetary support and pretended to pay to his former commander's call for unity. In this way, Krenal's support for Thrawn was all on paper, and he never actually did anything. Again, he just told his forces that he was paying Grand Admiral Thrawn, but never actually gave him anything. Ars Dangor's ruling council on Arinda gave him nominal position of Supreme Commander, but in reality the council and the Moffs hoarded military assets as much as they could in fear of each other as well as of the New Republic. Dangor's story is interesting because after Grand Admiral Thrawn returned to the known galaxy in 9 ABY, he sanctioned his campaign against the New Republic, and though he had few military assets to offer him, he would try, but most of his council really just hoarded stuff for themselves, and unlike other warlords, he actually wanted to support Thrawn, but really couldn't do too much. Moff Tol Gatellis, who ruled the Antimeridian sector, also aided Thrawn, and Gatellis had remained part of an Imperial remnant and retained control over this sector during the campaign. However, he lacked both the firepower and the confidence to mount a major attack on nearby New Republic-controlled bases during the Thrawn campaign, and he would be wiped out. Last to support the Confederation was the Oplivis sector, which I don't really have an Imperial warlord leader for during the Thrawn campaign. The region was formerly ruled by Fleet Admiral Gain Dromul, but as he was stranded in the Fardun system with his heavily damaged Executor-class Star Destroyer Guardian at this time, he wasn't calling the shots within the faction. Additionally, Dromul wasn't contacted by Thrawn regarding the sector's participation in the campaign, which greatly hurt the Admiral's ego and increased his cruelty while he was stranded. The sector did participate in the campaign, however, didn't really do much. Most notably, the powerful Deep Core warlords ignored Grand Admiral Thrawn's call for reunification and wouldn't support him really at all during the Thrawn campaign and pretty much used it as a distraction. Although their lack of support may have potentially been a small factor in Thrawn's loss, their inaction may have allowed them to run their warlord kingdoms longer, as they would be approached unknowingly by the reborn Emperor as being worthy of serving him in Operation Shadowhand the next year. After Grand Admiral Thrawn's death in 9 ABY at Bilbringi, the Imperial leaders who aided Thrawn's Confederation dispersed and returned to their own personal holdings. The Imperial ruling council retook control over the Empire and more extended than ever before. Despite this failure, many Imperial officers kept up morale, believing that the Empire could emerge reunited and victorious once again despite Thrawn's demise. This would happen the next year, of course, with the return of the reborn Emperor Palpatine, and later on in 12 ABY with the Imperial reunification. And that's the warlords who supported Thrawn's Confederation. What other parts of the expanded universe would you like for me to cover? Write in the comments, and thanks for watching.